every single human being needs to own a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, or some type of exotic car, and every single human being needs to wear a Rolex or some level of expensive watch. And this has nothing to do with the vanity of the status that it takes to own these things. It has everything to do with the reality that owning these things opens a door to a world that you didn't know existed, pushes your mindset to a higher level that you didn't previously understand, and more than anything else, introduces you to the beauty of consciousness from the mind and eyes of others.
Where I grew up from, I didn't know what a Rolex was. I didn't know what an AP or a Richard Mille or even like some of the Lambos. It's like people say I had a Ferrari on my poster wall as a kid. Like, I didn't even know what that was.
You know, I always like kind of grew up with like, you know, these experiences in life, like wearing shit like this, driving Ferraris and doing all this is for like those people, not us.
To be surrounded and accumulate beautiful things in your life was something that was so foreign to me.
When I was 14 years old, I looked out the window from the basement I lived in with my mom. We had a basement with a mattress and a TV. And what I realized that day, looking through the tiny windows of a basement, was that other children were living a very different life than I was living. These kids were driving their brand new car they just got while they didn't even have a driver's license, and parents bought them a $30,000 car. And I realized, looking out of that window, that there was a world out there and I didn't belong in it, and I was gonna have to earn my right to be there. And in my eyes that day, I realized no one was coming to save me. That's the day I decided if I was gonna make any money, I was gonna have to go out there. I'll make $1 is better than zero. I'll make $2 better than $1. It was aligning my reality that I was worthless and I needed to become worth something by creating some kind of value in the world, that it was working for someone or doing something. And because I was never a believer that who I was who I would be, I understood that this was a temporary state. And so the acceptance part is the bigger problem. You know, it's the acceptance of defeat before you even try. Poverty breeds mediocrity, breeds the inability to be your greatest self, and more importantly, hinders your life experiences. And because as a poor person, you refuse to see that, you bring other people to your level down, preventing them from reaching greatness because it's so scary to you to be the last person left poor. But reality is, this is why the world fails every single day.
He's going to be 1,000% honest about how he feels and how he views the world without catering to what you may want to hear.
They think he is this asshole that's a prick or, you know, whatever, it hurts everyone's feelings, but people that have the most change from what I've seen are the ones that are like, well, I actually know what he's getting at, and he's not wrong.
How many fathers look at their kids at a gas station and the kid runs to their Lamborghini and he's like, oh, daddy. And he's like, this isn't for us. Don't touch the man's car. There's a respect element to don't touch the car, but there's this other thing. It's like, that's not for us. Let's separate wealth from our life. Why do kids run to Lamborghinis and then run to Hondas? Because even children don't have limitations in their minds. All they see is design. So when a child sees a design like a Ferrari, it's drawn to it. It wants to go up to it and say, this is beautiful. Here is my exposure to beauty, right? But the father with a limiting mindset, the mother with a limiting mindset, with an acceptance of the dumbest of circumstances in life because they were just too weak to undertake it, now prevent that by putting a barrier between that child and that design.
99.9% of the population is running around trying to rip checks because they're living paycheck to paycheck. They're not able to make ends meet. And when you're living in pure survival mode like that, how the fuck are you supposed to figure out what your purpose in life is?
The longer you forfeit your right to understand that mastery of society is the single most important step into gaining the baseline necessary to be able to gain consciousness, then the further you are from meeting your true self. And that is why money does matter. And that is why we fight poverty with everything in our body, because poverty prevents us from being conscious. So as I grew older and I started making significant amounts of money in my life, when I say significant, it's all perspective to where you are at a certain stage in your life. I was at a stage where having a six-figure job, having disposable income, and having the ability to buy myself a Porsche felt like I was on top of my game. And this was a big piece of it, right? It's like your first exotic car, something that most people can't achieve, and you've achieved it at like 20. So you get excited, you're like up there. And you feel validated. But this is the thing I always say, the greatest enemy to a great life is a good life. You feel validated for nonsense. But what occurs from that is, and what people don't realize in the game of life, is as you evolve, it's not just about buying the car, it's about the people that come around you when you buy the car. It's the entry. So the car is nothing more than a key to enter a room, and to enter a room full of incredible people who are also on top of the game in their own way.
PJ, the way that he explains it is like, it's not about the watches, it's not about the cars, it's not about any of that shit. It's about the experiences and the doors that open while we're doing it.
It is a surreal experience to look at life from the lens of that 14-year-old child looking out of a basement, looking at another 16-year-old child going out with a Camaro and seeing that power, right? That power of choice that child had that I didn't have. And knowing I can now provide this to my child. So I've broken the curse that my family had.
I can see the results of how hard he works and the commitment that he has to his craft or everything that he does.
Everything around him, if it's from the house, from HQ, from the cars, everything has jumped like tenfold.
There is no difference in time for each human. We all are prisoners of time to the same manner. The only difference in wealth and how wealth alters that is the experience of that time becomes significantly different when you have money versus when you don't have money. The evolution of a human goes through three key stages: awareness, self-awareness, and consciousness. And one of the big elements of mastering awareness comes from mastering environments. And a lot of times they say, well, does money buy happiness? And I always say, no, money buys circumstance. Having more money allows you to choose where you live. It allows you to choose mobility in living in a place, in a state, in a country that embodies your values, what you seek, or perhaps your future endeavors or things you want to do in life. So control over environment is a key to that evolution. The next stage is identity. And identity in the self-awareness circle, in the second circle, as I talk about in my book, Third Circle Theory, comes from identity. And identity is twofold: societal identity, a cosmic identity. People have to understand that their evolution is driven by their understanding of how money is created in society for them. And also then once they have mastered the societal game, and that is only mastered again by money, because money is the digital and what I would call universal currency of success in societies. You cannot disvalidate society. You cannot say we're trying to not live in the matrix, because the matrix is part of this evolutionary stage, is structure for what's bigger behind it. And what's bigger behind it is what I call the cosmos. So once you have enough money that you've mastered time and master how society perceives time and how you can spend it, the next stage is to choose how you use your time, right? And that's the middle stage of everyone's life, assuming they get to the stage. Then you can choose how you spend your time, and you can choose where your impact is felt. Like, I want to be a teacher. I was a finance guy growing up. I made enough money in finance. I decided I want to be a teacher. Now I have resources to devote to this, and I've had time to build platforms and to build my life around what I want to do. So I was able to craft better material to teach because I wasn't under the pressure of having to convert that into revenue or into money. And I was able to do even better than I expected as a result of that because I focused on the quality of my purpose. And you see, all of these things are interconnected. And this is one of the key reasons that I always teach in all my books and all my teachings, that consciousness is not a separated entity from money.
Pejman doesn't think about today. He thinks about 5, 10, 20 years out.
He puts everything he has into his work and into his reputation and has stayed on one thing for a very long time. That has shown to reap massive reward and benefit.
The cars, the watches, the art, everything leveled up in a huge way. Everything he teaches, he's done, but in a drastic way.
He doesn't miss. And I think his understanding that you are in full control of your life and your time and your surroundings and the things that happen to you, I think that is something that not only is the reason why he's as successful as he is today, but also that mindset is something that he's instilling into myself and his students.
Over the years, I've watched some of our students, individuals that started as students now have become friends over the years, because as a teacher, I've kind of gotten to know these people on a personal level. And I've seen the impact. Like, we have one student who went from having a corporate job for like $150K a year and really being stuck in his mindset of like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. I know I'm destined for more, but I just don't know what to do. I saw him go from $0 to $100,000 in profit in less than like 7 months. And then I saw him go from $0 to $250,000 in profit in 12 more months. And in my head, I go, back in the day, it took me 7 to 8 years to get to $250,000 a year, It just took this guy less than a year and a half. And I'm like, he must be the exception. And when I look back at all the success we've had with our training programs, I go, he's actually getting closer to the rule than the exception. Because we've created many millionaires, we've created many 100K earners, 250K earners, 500K earners. And so seeing this guy struggle with this idea of, oh, well, I'm going to a job I don't like, and I'm making some money, and I have a family to support, to I love my life, this is beautiful, to even going on a car rally with me in his brand new Ferrari that he bought for the rally. Like, he was driving an Aston Martin and he literally walked in the dealership and bought a Ferrari using my principle just so he could drive a car for a week in the middle of the desert with me and meet new people and enjoy himself. And he left that with a blown out front bumper from the rock chips and $5,000 in damage. And he didn't care. The old him would have cared. The old him wouldn't even have gone on that rally if you told him it was going to cost him a $5,000 bumper. And so that, to me, is the ultimate transformation. Because it's not a transformation of I've helped you make money. It's a transformation of I've helped this guy become the best, fearless version of himself, pursuing what he once thought to be an illusion, now to be his reality, and crafting experiences that he was once afraid of undertaking because of money, now looking at them as, I would have been an idiot not to do it, even if it would have cost me $10,000 for that bumper.
If everybody saw the world the way that we do, things might change. People might push themselves harder. People might break out or break through that glass ceiling that they're experiencing. If people really looked at things the way that he teaches, I can speak like firsthand, you know what I mean? Like, I've broken through glass ceilings that I didn't think that I was going to be able to, just by shifting the perspective and the way that I look at the world.
I would have to say that there's really something truly special about working with somebody who knows exactly what their purpose is here in this lifetime, on this planet, and getting to see him fulfill that every single day in so many different avenues across so many different platforms with thousands and thousands of people. I mean, the man is here to teach.
My mother, who gave me 20 years of her life in exchange for what I'm trying now to give her, the last 20 years of her life in true peace and harmony, is the true and most powerful experience I've ever had in my life.
I think there's like two sides to it, right? It's like experiencing stuff like this and stuff like the cars, being able to master money using those type of things, and then using that to enrich and fulfill the lives of those around you. And I think that's fucking beautiful, dude.
This is the byproducts of 20 years worth of work. And remember, I came from a place where I was sleeping in a basement with my mom and where I had to watch her go to work for $5 to $6 an hour. And we're now in a position to be buying unlimited cars, doing whatever we want in life. And that comes, again, from perseverance and true dedication to your craft. Beauty will always save the world. And that means that you should always pursue the highest level of beauty in any aspect of your life.